Good afternoon, and welcome to the Black Ibis Social Club. I'm your host, Alexander Constantine. We got Fisto somewhere here, and it is the 2nd of July on a beautiful, well, extremely hot South Carolina afternoon. What's up, Fisto?
Hello. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Caught my breath around up the stairs because I was like, oh crap, did I run that song for too long? I was like wrestling dogs and everything, and it was, oof, man, I'm out of
Every
shape.
good podcast begins with a battle.
I know. I made myself
Yes,
a
hello, chat. Hello, friends. Good to see you all.
all right.
If you
All
are
right.
if you are first time, welcome. It's good to have you.
Oh, we got Pikachu in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got my boy Pikachu. We got Greg.
Nice. The song
Yeah, they
that we
want to
did
know
the
the song,
intro,
man. They're screaming
that
about the
is
song.
that is I'll tell you exactly. It's Queen of the Rodeo. All right. And hello to people on the YouTube chat, which we kind of neglect sometimes. Um, the song is Queen of the Rodeo by Orville Peck. All right. If you guys aren't familiar with Orville Peck, he is a South African homosexual country western singer who I think is amazing. All right. If you've never listened to Orville Peck, he's
Orville
the
Peck.
Orville Peck. Look him up. He has some really cool pictures if you're into the homosexual cowboy. He's kind of like his stuff sounds like Elvis mixed with Nick Cave mixed with um like just 60s country western, but played at the Double Deuces bar in Twin Peaks.
What's the guy's name one more time? Oliver Peck?
Orville.
Orville Peck. Orville Peck.
Orville
God,
Peck.
I'm so done. All right. I got him.
Yeah.
I got him up here on my Spotify's.
All right.
I shall listen to him.
And he has like an album of doing. He does a really good um he does a really good like version of Unchained Melody, which I think is
Oh,
a really
great.
good cover. He's just really good all around. Like my wife kind of came across him a few years ago, and I've been a
Yeah,
fan ever since. And nobody's seen his face. He like hides. He wears a mask the whole
I
time.
see that. I see that. Yes, it's very classy. Very
Right.
Lone Ranger.
He's like a
He's
gay Lone Ranger.
yeah. I was gonna say he's kind of like a Las Vegas Lone
Yeah,
Ranger.
that's what
I'm
his
looking at
music.
some of these album covers, and it's like for Stampede. Like
Right.
that shit's gold, man.
Well,
That's great.
so the music is great, and I
Yeah,
actually the reason I played it is because we're talking about the Blown Ranger. That's pretty. It's the
Lone
Blowing
Ranger.
Ranger. Screen
How
and
tall
Swan.
is this dude?
I don't know.
Because like in the one picture, he's like a solid foot and a half over everybody.
Yeah, he seems like a
That's
really
funny.
tall dude. He's South African, so he's probably a tall dude. Those
Oh,
guys tend to be big. My South African neighbor is like 6'2", and he's like 400 pounds of pure muscle. Like so, they tend to be big dudes.
yeah.
Um, so okay, so that's I'm gonna do my little monologue, and I think it's important
All
here.
right.
Okay,
All right. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Lock in.
all right. So it is the 2nd of July. This is the Black Ibis 4th of July extravaganza. Why? Because God bless America. I work on the 4th of July. And if I wasn't working, I'd be spending time with my family instead of podcasting. Even though, to be fair, you guys are like my family nowadays, right? I think about you. I try to make you happy, you know? I try to come up with content for you. But no, but I've been kind of bummed out a bit because I feel like there's something about this year where like the whole America, the whole 4th of July vibe is kind of off. I don't really see any flags anywhere in my neighborhood. And if you guys know, I live in like the South. It's not like the fake South. Well, I don't know. Some people might disagree, but I mean, I live 30 minutes away from the secession tree, right? And South Carolina, basically. I live about 15 minutes outside of Savannah, about an hour south of Charleston. In the low country, it's very much it's very much the South. Okay. I've got Spanish moss on all my trees, and my house is covered with a good swampy, slimy film that I have to power wash once a year, and I also live next to a military base, right? I live actually next to two military bases, an air station, and I live next to the East Coast Marine Corps boot camp, Parris Island, right? So it's pretty wild, right? I just don't feel like there's anything going on. And 3 years ago, when I first, no, 4 years ago now, when I first moved here, it was pretty wild, it was just partying everywhere on my street. There was a lot of fireworks and stuff, and fireworks started, 4 or 5 days before, and I haven't heard one firework, man. I haven't heard one firework at all, right? So I decided that, you know what, we're going to do the 4th of July show. And when I made that decision, I made two kind of notes to myself. And I don't know if you're going to agree with me, Fisto, but here's what the notes are. First, I need to address the main elephant in the room, right? And then the other note is, it's kind of a rule more than a note, is that I'm not going to focus on anything negative. All right. This whole episode is going to be everything I like about America. All right. And I'm not talking about America as in the global homo empire around the world. I'm talking about America, right? The rodeo and Empire State Building and I don't know, Disneyland and all the things I like about America, right? And your mama's apple pie, all the good stuff, right? And the other thing I need to address is that, so whenever I bring up these conversations, right? Whenever I comment on an America topic, even on Substack or on my old blog and my old stuff, there's always an elephant in the room, which is like, but Alex, your name is Alexandru Constantine, and you're not an American, right? And yeah, it's true, man. Okay, I can't, I can't deny that, right? And I really, to a certain degree, I always feel like I cannot properly comment on this conversation. You know what I mean? Like when we're talking about American stuff or America issues or like policies or politics or, Supreme Court rulings, I'm really not an American, right? Ethnically, I'm not. I'm Eastern European. I'm Romanian. And, right. But I did grow up in the United States. Okay. And I live here. It's my home. And I love this place. Right. And I moved to the US. So I kind of wanted to talk about that, like that element and how I perceive it, right? And I want to make sure that I dropped it, right? I fully believe that if you guys, if you like ethnic, I don't know, generational Americans decide to kick me out and kick out all immigrants, right? If you want to kick me out, I'm cool with it, right? But you ain't gonna do it because you're all kind of bitches, right? But anyways, right? If you can't kick out Paco, you ain't kicking me out, homies, right? But the reality of it is that like I kind of got into an argument with a friend, and it was kind of a feisty argument over it, and because he thought that like he had the whole, well, how come like different people from different countries have stays and stuff in this country? And I said, well, because you let them, because you let them. That's really the truth, right? And he was talking, we were in a group, the four of us, right? And there's 100% heritage Americans, right? A blonde guy and a redhead. And then there was me, the Eastern European, and my friend, Texican, right? He's a born in Texas Mexican, first, like, second generation, right? And the standard American or whatever, the guy who said he can trace his heritage back as to the Mayflower or whatever, just like you, Fisto, right?
Yes, I was about to say yes. Hello.
Right. He was saying like, you guys, like, what do you get to decide? What do you have an opinion, right? And I pointed out to him the reason we have an opinion, right? Because he made this comment. Well, he's like, my ancestors fought in the wars for this country, right? And I pointed out to him that out of the four people standing there, me and the Mexican were the only veterans. Right?
Right.
And I was like, that's cool that your ancestor fought in the war, but you didn't.
Right.
You didn't do shit. You know what I mean?
Precisely.
So that's where I get to say it and you don't. I'm sorry to say it, bro, because I took it. You know what I mean? right? Like you're right. And there's a level of doomerism where it's like, oh, we're gonna do this and that, and it's like, well, you need to fucking do it. Fucking do it. Like if you were to come out, I mean, if people were to come out and Bill the Butcher from Gangs in New York was going to start rallying against immigrants and stuff, and it was like, get rid of all these Eastern European immigrants. I'd be like, sure, okay, I'll leave. Cool, peace, bye. Like that's cool. Like it's your country. I get it. All right, I'm not welcome. I'll leave. All right, even though I lived here for 30 years, but you're not going to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's just like, let's be real here, right? And so, and I bring this up, right, because in the conversation about the whole heritage birthright citizenship thing, or whatever the fuck that was about, the Supreme Court thing, right, people are acting like, oh my god, the Supreme Court made these. I'm like, no, the Supreme Court didn't make any ruling. The Supreme Court upheld the status quo. You just noticed that was the rule.
Right. Exactly.
People were being really doomery about this whole thing, right? But it's like, bro, like the day the Supreme Court ruling made that ruling, nothing changed that wasn't exactly the same for the last 100 years.
Right.
Like that's why I posted that stuff about all those Chinese boutique birthing centers all over Southern California that we've all known about for decades. But now all of a sudden every chud is like, oh my god, the Supreme Court. I'm like, dude, that's been the norm for decades, and now you noticed. I thought you were involved in stuff. I thought you cared. No, you don't. You only care when the news puts it in front of you. All right. And that's the problem with a lot of people. You only care when the news like puts it in front of you. Right. Because some of us have been talking about the absurdity of birthright citizenship forever. Right. You know why? My daughter was born in Japan because she's not a Japanese citizen, right? She'll never be a Japanese citizen, but she was born in Japan. If Japan had the same laws that the US had, my daughter would be Japanese today. Because not only was she born in Japan, she lived in Japan for a long time after her birth. Absurd, right? But
right.
The whole point of this whole thing was to be really, 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 really positive about everything, right? And that's what I want to do. And I want to kind of explain the politics and the silliness and everything is really not America, okay? America is the people. America is the culture. America is the cultures, because there is multiple cultures, in my opinion, right? And that's kind of what I want to talk about, like the different multiple like branches of culture. And that's what really matters. And that's what I really love. And I love America. If I didn't love America, I wouldn't be here, right? And if I didn't love America, I wouldn't have spent like 2 decades of my life in the military, like doing silly global homo stuff for it. And I wouldn't keep on coming back. I mean, I love America so much that I moved to the South. That's how much I love America. But I actually come from a family, my mom specifically, that really, really loved America. All right. And it's that America the America my mom loved, I believe, is the America that I think is the best, in my opinion. And I'll explain. So my mom grew up under communism, and she came of age under communism, right? And she was born in the 60s, so she's a early Gen Xer, right? Like, that boomer to Gen X divide is, right? I think she officially counts as a Gen Xer, but like the first year or so. And I think her entire life she loved America from the day, like, she could think of stuff, right? With the music, the movies, the culture, everything. And she had this insane, she was a weeb for America in Eastern Europe, and the first chance she got to move to the US, she took it. I mean, she was like, we're moving to the US. And my dad's like, I don't want to. She's like, no, you're going to move to the US or I'm divorcing you. But basically like what she said, which was pretty insane, but whatever. So when she moved to the US, she was in her 30s and I was like a little kid, right? And she loved the America that is like the Wild West, She loved the America that is a Don Henley video, like the Boys of Summer, Hotel California, Hollywood, the palm trees and Marilyn Monroe, Chevy cars going up, Pacific Coast Highway, that whole thing, right? Ventura Boulevard. She loved the idea of, the desert, Arizona, the Grand Canyon, like all the Americanas, the diners, just, that entire culture. But what she really loved the most was this like intense like American spirit of telling people to just fuck off. She loved that, right? She was the kind of person that like could not stand the very like hyper conservative Eastern European culture. Because if you're like into like the reality is Eastern European culture, even the most like liberal, like communist kind of Eastern European culture is really very conservative. Like even Russia at its like communist peak, well, it's post-Stalin peak was very conservative culturally. They had like an era of the early communism where they were like all about like wife swapping and that type of thing, and the family doesn't matter. But that got stomped out really fast, right? That whole thing. They were a very conservative kind of culture, and they continue to be conservative well into the 80s towards the end, and even into the 90s. And they still, to a certain degree, a lot of those countries are a lot more conservative. um, I had a friend that recently went to visit Bucharest, and he was like, man, those girls are a lot more conservative than they are in the US when it comes to like bar culture and that kind of stuff. So my mom hated that. She was much more of a free spirit. She wanted like to, she hated the kind of the scolding nature of a overtly like pariacal kind of culture, and I don't know. And she loved that about America. She loved that you could tell people, no, I don't want to do that. No, we don't need to do that. No, that's stupid. I can wear pants. I can do this. I don't have to dress up. She really liked that idea, and she kind of instilled that into me. Where I think I suffer from a little bit of a, what's that word for it? What did my psychiatrist say? Not
Uh,
dissociative, and well,
yeah. It's when you just like disagree with everything.
yeah. He's not really my psychiatrist. He's my psychiatrist friend. He's oppositional disorder.
Oppositional, yes.
He said I have oppositional disorder, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right, bro. But yeah, like there's something I love about that, and I love about that spirit. And it really hurt me when COVID happened, because COVID kind of, you know, showed that a lot of us are not that America that like my, you know, Eastern European friends and family during communism imagined we are, which kind of hurt my feeling. There was, do you know what I'm talking about? Like when the whole like COVID stuff happened, I was like, we really bent the knee on that one a lot. Not
Yeah.
all of
COVID
us,
was
but a lot
bullshit,
of us
man.
did.
COVID sucked.
Yeah, and it really kind of ruined my it really made me bitter, but the spirit was still there. I remember I went to Orange County in California, Southern California, and I was gonna walk into a Target, and I was like, oh shit, do I gotta put on a mask? So I like reached in my pocket to carry the mask when I didn't feel like arguing with everybody. And my brother's like, yeah, were you gay, bro? This is like Orange County, we don't do that shit here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. You know what I mean, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
because I lived in Los Angeles County, where they did all like,
Yeah.
and sometimes like my wife refused to wear a mask ever. I don't think she even owned a mask the entire 3 years of COVID, and she had like her rule was she'd walk right into like the Starbucks at Target and grab a Starbucks and just walk around drinking it, And when people
Yeah.
like said anything, she's like, I'm drinking, fuck off, like leave me alone. But sometimes that shit like wears you down, like you have to just kind of like, you're like, fuck whatever, dude. I'm not gonna argue with every fucking stupid Karen, I just want to take a piss in the store. So you walk in, you put on your stupid mask, and you like fucking half-ass wear it. But that really kind of bummed me out. Like it really ruined my image. I'm like, wow, what would Doc Holliday say about this shit? What would Wyatt Earp say it? But that's the America I love, right? And I feel like last episode I talked about how like I felt like a lot of like the Bucky stuff was propaganda, and a lot of the whole like, yeah, America's like ranch and Bucky's. And don't get me wrong, okay? A lot of people said, well, no, nobody said, because I kind of ignored everybody. Sometimes the implication comes off that I think that those things are dumb. I don't think that Bucky's is dumb. All right. I love beaver nuggets, man. Actually, the other day, my friend went down to Texas and he came back and he brought me a bunch of beaver nuggets because he stopped at Bucky's. Right? And there's actually one in Georgia real close to me.
Yeah, I think I've been to that one.
There's two from where I am heading towards where you are. Because whenever I go down to Orlando, there's one like right outside of Jacksonville, and then right by St. Augustine, kind of over there. So that's
Did I
the
tell
ones
you
that,
my theory? Did I tell you my theory of Schrodinger's Buckeyes or
yeah, there's
Schrodinger's
one always
Buckies?
near us. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, they are always planning on putting one near you, wherever you are. Someone somewhere they will be putting in a Bucky's soon, and it's just a constant. It's just a constant rumor at all times.
We have that with Trader Joe's here.
Yeah,
Like there's always like, oh, they're gonna build a Trader Joe's anytime now soon. And
yeah,
I really would like them to build the
yeah.
Trader
Anytime
Joe's.
you see some land cleared, it's like, is a Bucky's going in there?
Look, I'm sorry, guys. Trader Joe's is better than Bucky's. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, it's not that I don't like Bucky's. It's cool, but it's still a gas station. And the reason I don't like that whole vibe is that I kind of wish the people that were discovering America were discovering all the actual really cool shit about America. You know what I mean? All the cool cultural vibes we have. Like America is so much better than gas station with freaking corn syrup slop. All right. Like that's not what we are. All right. Our culture, and I say ours because I've lived here for I'm 43. So, 35 years of my life. God, it feels crazy, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
35 years of my life I've lived here. And America is more than a freaking gas station with, corn soy nuggets. Okay, guys? Like there's so much cool stuff. So what I think I want to talk to you about, and I hope people in the chat too, I want to talk about different like aesthetic vibes, cultural vibes, right? That I really, really like and I love, and I want writers and artists and people, in the creative arts and in the, for us to talk about, okay, to bring forth, because I think we've kind of like neglected our own culture, our own vibe, right? And the obviously one is the Western. The Western is very American. There's nothing American. The Western and the cart chase, all right? You cannot, that's American. That is quintessential Americana, right? But there's a lot more than just the Western and the car chase, right? And some of the things I love is I love that 1950s, 60s diner aesthetic. All right. I don't know what it is about you guys. This is just me. I love diner aesthetics. I love like Western style, like, out west in California and, going west in Arizona, Nevada, that there's something that, in Twin Peaks, the third season in Twin Peaks: The Return, when he's out there in Nevada, basically in the desert outside of Las Vegas, there's something that just I don't know. You walk into like one of these places, it's brown. There's like a slot machine in the corner next to a cigarette machine. It smells like stale cigarettes, like it smells like cigarettes. It feels like a place like Russ Cole from True Detective would hang out. Yeah. There's like some like neon lights, some crappy beer, and there's just something about that, man. Like Vegas, Las Vegas off the strip during the day.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like I fucking love that. Right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. I was thinking it's funny because as you pivoted to the two things, the car chase and the Western, I was looking up Cannonball Run because I was thinking of that. Like, I would have liked to have grabbed those Germans and said, "You want to know why we got so many gas stations? Drop them in a car on the East Coast and say, drive, bitch. Call me in a couple of weeks when you realize how goddamn huge this place is. Right, just go."
The cross-country drive is the most American thing ever.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I talked about it on here, but when I moved to South Carolina, before I moved, we were living in Los Angeles. We're actually living in Ventura for people that want to be precise, right? Ventura is right. It's next to it's north of Los Angeles in the valley, and the whole Ventura Boulevard song, and or Ventura Beach songs by Lana Del Rey, and it's right north of Malibu, so like it runs right into Malibu. But what we did, we opted to basically load up our entire house into a big rig truck. We paid a truck company, and they took all our stuff here, and we took a long way here. We just basically decided to drive, and because our daughter at that time was like 3, or 4.
Yeah.
You can't keep a kid in a car for more than like 5-6 hours, man. It's like nuts. So we basically plotted a route where we would stop every 5-6 hours and spend 2 or 3 days where we stopped. So we did so many stuff. We stopped at the Grand Canyon, which is amazing. And let me tell you,
Yep.
man,
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you guys, before I went to go the Grand Canyon, I went on the Arizona side because we were staying in Flagstaff, which, by the way, is a beautiful city. Flagstaff is an amazing city in Arizona. I would actually live in Flagstaff if I didn't live in South Carolina. But before that, I was like, I don't know, man. The Grand Canyon is just like a hole in the ground. I don't really want to see it, Like I climb
Sweet
Mount
young man.
Fuji. I climb Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji's beautiful and amazing. Like nothing can top climbing Mount Fuji and seeing Mount Fuji over Tokyo. But my wife's like, no, you have to see it. You have to go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And so we diverted to the Grand Canyon, and it blew my fucking mind, Fisto.
Yeah,
I was
man.
like, holy shit. And it was a rainy day, like a muggy day. So it wasn't like, and I walked up to the observation deck thing, and I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this is amazing. It's so beautiful. And I'm like, I need to come back here and just, I need to
all the greatest places in America are found. A couple of them are built, and they're pretty great, but yeah, just the West, man. The West. Grand Canyon, the mountains, the deserts, all that, that's it. You're good.
We stayed at this very kitschy kind of motel, right? And I'm gonna kind of like, you guys are gonna laugh at me, but I never understood why it was called a motel. Right? Like, do you know why it's called a motel instead of a hotel?
Has to do with like motor, right? Like
right. It's a what's a word called when you smashed words together, right? What is that? It's an English term.
Conjunction?
Not a conjunction.
Compound word.
No, it's not a compound word.
I like that.
I'm sure Lisa will be able to tell us.
But yeah, it's a place meant that you can
it's
drive up and be
motor hotel, right? And
motor hotel, right?
You're supposed to drive your car up to your door. There it is, portmanteau, where you slam. Right. So this motel was basically an old motel in Flagstaff, but it's owned by like a hipster company, and it was all hipstery. Right. And you pulled into it, and like inside the hotel, it was they had like basically like tapes, like they had tape players, and they had a collection of tapes with like not burnt tapes, but like recorded tapes, like the Eagles and all this stuff. And you can like put them in, it was like playlists basically that you can listen to like on these tape decks that they put inside the hotel. And it was really cool. And they had like a kind of like a vintage bar that felt like a place where you can smoke in and stuff, and like a little pool, but it was really cool. So we spent 2 days there. I loved it, and I don't know, there was bears in Flagstaff. I guess, that's interesting, but there's giant, not the deer, but the big old deer, I forgot what they're called. They're bigger than deer, but smaller than moose. Elk. There's elk.
Elk, yes. Elk.
Yeah, which I was like, that's pretty wild. It's like a mountain forest. Then we drove down and we spent a few days in Santa Fe, and I love the desert, man. Like, I love the heat, and I love the dry heat, and Santa Fe is amazing. It's kind of bougie a little bit, but we spent some time at a hotel in Santa Fe. We spent a few days in Hot Springs, Arkansas. That was amazing. Like in the middle of the forest, man. Like, that's such a beautiful state. Like, when people talk shit on Arkansas, like, a lot of like shit libs will talk shit on Arkansas. I'm like, have you ever been there? It's freaking gorgeous driving through Arkansas. Beautiful. Oklahoma, not gorgeous, but Oklahoma City itself is really cool. And they do have the Barbed Wire Museum, which is kind of cool. Like, I don't know if it has ever been.
So I'm looking at a map. You guys basically did Interstate 40 the whole way out.
Yep, that's what we did, right?
Yeah.
And then we dumped out north, and we went to Nashville.
Oh, nice. All right, yeah.
Because what we did was we were kind of debating when we were in like Oklahoma City. We were kind of debating, do we go to Nashville or do we go to do we detour and go to New Orleans? And we decided that New Orleans, New Orleans is probably not the best choice with the 3-year-old at that time.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
we decided
Well,
to go up to Nashville, and then we from Nashville we went into South Carolina. Actually, interestingly enough, Nashville was my least favorite place out of our whole road trip. And I thought, I mean, I had a great time. We went into a bluegrass bar, and there was a bluegrass band. That was amazing. I still have like their album, and we convinced the bartender and like the bouncers to let my daughter in. So basically, my daughter spent like 5-6 hours, you know, with a bunch of drunks playing bluegrass music at a bar when she was 4 years
fantastic.
old. So it
Yeah,
was
that's
pretty. It
fantastic.
was pretty cool. I have a picture of her like on a bar table, like next to like this band playing banjo, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's what I love. I love that Americana vibe. But there's just something that I don't know what it is. I remember, being 43. I still caught that smoking in diners thing, even in California. I know some of your guys' states like allowed smoking much later, but California got rid of smoking kind of around 2000.
Yeah,
Like,
you guys were early.
yeah, we were early. We got rid of it around 2000, and but when I turned 18 and I could buy cigarettes, there were still some restaurants that had smoking areas, like
Yeah.
or smoking outside, which eventually they got rid of completely.
No.
And then, of course, we still went to Vegas. And in Vegas, you can still, I don't know, can you still smoke in Vegas? I haven't been to Vegas in almost,
I'm just gonna presume yes.
yeah, I'm assuming you
Yeah,
can,
I'm,
right?
I'm, I'm not even gonna check. I'm just gonna presume yes, because if I went to Vegas, I would smoke, and I just wouldn't care.
Yeah. I know you can smoke in a lot of Indian casinos in
Yeah, of
California
course.
still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. I
Um,
don't even smoke, but I would smoke if I went to Vegas. So
yeah. Well, that's how it was when I went back to Bucharest. Like I quit smoking, but as soon as I walked out of the airport, I was like, well, I got to smoke now because everybody's smoking at every cafe. So I just bought a pack of cigarettes and I smoked the whole time I was there. In Japan, I couldn't stop smoking. I stopped smoking before I went to Japan. And you can smoke in every bar and everywhere, and everybody smokes in Japan. So I was like, well, fuck it, I gotta smoke while I'm here. I'm not a barbarian, guys. I gotta deal with like the locals. So, anyways, that's the aesthetic I love. What's your favorite American aesthetic?
uh favorite American aesthetic. You have to really think about that one. Probably the old money neighborhood. What I mean by that is like, so Cleveland, where I grew up, and this is going to be very much related to my youth. But Cleveland growing up it's essentially a cheap New York. It was like the West, it was like the North Coast New York. So you had, Carnegie and, the oil guys, Rockefeller, like all them, like Cleveland was a major, 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 major shipping industry. So all of the buildings, all of the downtown is Art Deco. It's New York. And then when you go out into the suburbs, Shaker Heights. Anybody ever heard of that? You can look it up. But it's this turn of the century, a lot of brick, big buildings, like the trees and everything have grown in, and it's just that 1920s, 1930s Cleveland neighborhood. That's kind of my favorite aesthetic. That sort of New York, but new, overgrown with trees, overgrown with oak, overgrown with vines, and like everything. Here, let me see if I can find a picture I can maybe send you. Because like if you look up, just like Shaker Heights, that sort of that sort of look. I don't know if that's even an aesthetic, but when I see those kinds of places, just cozy. Like there's a lot going on in there. You could hide in there, and just these massive neighborhoods. Oh, here we go. I think a lot of this has to do with like seeing it from the sky. Here, I'm going to shoot this to you in Telegram.
Okay.
Whenever like we traveled a lot. We traveled a lot when I was young, and whenever I flew home, whenever I came home, this is what I would see, and it was always like, yes, back home. I recognize this. Hold on.
That's interesting. So it's like that.
Here it
That's
is.
okay. Oh, I see. Like that's like the straight Midwestern thing. That's very much
Yeah.
like Dan Simmons's Summer of Night book has that same kind of feel, at least like from a literature kind of standpoint. Um, really the anti-Great Gatsby, if you want to be honest, right?
Yeah.
I think Nick Carraway does go back to Ohio, or that's where he's from, sort of. Um, are you? Let me see. And it's very like it's its very own kind of unique kind of vibe, right? Because you guys have basements over there, right?
Yes. Yeah. Everybody's got a basement,
Right.
of course.
That kind of like that aesthetic is the Drew Carey show aesthetic, the
Yes, Drew
70s,
Carey. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the
exactly.
70s
Exactly.
show, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. That's all it
yeah,
is.
because they're in Cleveland, right?
Yeah,
In the
exactly.
70s show.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what is that? Like Ohio,
It's Ohio core. It's Ohio core. That's
Ohio
what we'll call it.
Noir?
Yeah, Ohio
That's
Noir. I like
that's
that.
a
I
good
like that.
one.
Let me
Uh,
find a church too. Hold on. There's a church I'm thinking of. This is gonna take me a minute, but Catholic and Orthodox churches in Ohio. That's another kind of aesthetic. Trying to find where my grandma used to attend. Oh, shit. All right, there's St. Joe's.
why did I use Bing? Anyways, copy that link, you guys. That's another art aesthetic I like. I hate that you can't like paste or you can't like hyperlink in stupid ass Substack.
Oh yeah, it's the worst. So dumb.
So cut and paste that.
All right, hold
You
on.
know
I'm gonna find a picture of this place, even if it kills me.
what aesthetic I like, what American aesthetic I like is actually tiki aesthetic. And
Mm.
I don't know where that came from, right? It is like
It's
an
like
Elvis
that.
thing.
I was
So
gonna say that's down around my neighborhood, right?
but it's also California. Yeah, well, no. It's more of a California thing, I think,
Oh, okay.
than a Florida thing. Look up that link. I put in cut and paste it, and it's like the link is a contemporary artist named Shag, but that he kind of captures that look of like the weird like mid-century Americana kind of aesthetic, and there's like atomic punk. Like, isn't that what like atomic punk or atomic Americana is what Fallout is, right?
Yeah,
Like that aesthetic in Fallout, right?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
like
yeah.
atomic punk, right? So there's just so many freaking amazing American aesthetics that I feel like we kind of ignore in a way, right? We you know right now we are kind of like t- your aesthetic, the one you were talking about, the kind of Cleveland, Ohio
Yeah,
vibe, is kind of on the upswing with stuff like Stranger Things.
yeah.
It's a very much a Stephen King slash Steven Spielberg aesthetic from the 80s with the brown pants. I mean, you know, the other like real cool vibe I've always liked about America that I've always kind of wanted to live in is the nautical New England kind of vibe.
Mm.
The like Jaws.
Yeah, look up Portland, Maine. I lived there for a few years,
Oh no,
and
I
the coastal harborman vibe.
that right. So
Perfect,
to be
perfect.
honest, Portland, Maine was one of the other places behind here. Like you know, it was I had three choices to move like that.
Oh,
I
no
had like
kidding.
right, and one of them, and I'll tell you my three kind of options that I was like kind of thrown up in the air, and you know, was Seattle, like the Washington area, really like Whidbey
Mm,
Island north of Seattle, the whole Whidbey Island, Everett, the you know like the Sound, right? That's kind of where I kind of wanted to. It's beautiful nature wise, like the hiking, Mount Rainier in the
mm,
distance,
mm,
and the forest is great. Twin Peaksy kind of vibe to it. Um, the other place was Maine, which
mm,
that was my number one choice, but I never got
mm,
around to actually even visiting. I want to go visit, and then here in the South. And the reason we ended up kind of selling on here was because my wife had a really good point that she's like, Alex, you really fucking hate it when it's cold. And I'm like,
yeah, yeah. If you don't like cold
yeah,
weather, Maine would have been horrible. I can see you getting super depressed and just walking into the Atlantic Ocean because
yeah,
you
I'm
get
depressed. I'm depressed
yeah,
like
no,
here when it's
yeah,
like,
no. Like
um,
Maine. So there is one cool thing about Maine though. You should absolutely go visit. You should take Route One and just drive north on Route One.
right.
It's gorgeous. But one thing that's funny about Maine, and I imagine it's still true, but billboards are strictly verboten.
Oh,
So
that's
you cross
awesome.
the state line, and it's Norman Rockwell. I know you hate Norman Rockwell, but the uh the landscapes are
Just
fucking.
beautiful.
I walked into those little snow globes. It's hilarious. It's terrifying hilarious. Like, I remember I had a claim once. When I was living up there, I was an adjuster, so I got to drive everywhere. And I got 50 miles south of the Canadian border, just driving down this random ass road. I was in a snow globe, just cruising down. That's what I mean. Like, all the most beautiful, all the greatest, like, aesthetics, all the greatest sites in the United States. You just find them. You just have to go
Right.
find
They're
them.
just there on the side of the
Yeah,
road,
yeah. Just drive north out of Portland on Route 1. If you're, when I was living in Colorado Springs, just drive west into the mountains. Just go west into the mountains,
Just do it.
and yeah, you'll see. I mean, there's nothing else to be said. Like, I'm not even going to spoil it, because I cannot describe the
And
beauty,
the
the
other
natural beauty of this place.
the other thing that is a very quintessential American thing is driving. Driving,
Yeah,
motherfuckers. That
yeah.
is
You gotta. This
like
place is
the
huge, man.
car is American,
Yeah.
and that's what actually makes me really mad that it's like so expensive for young people to drive nowadays. It's so expensive for like people to be able to afford a car, and all these stupid ass regulations and all this stupid thing. There is nothing more amazing than when I turned 16 and I finally got my permit, and then I got my license, and had my crappy beat up piece of shit Honda Civic that I don't know how that thing even ran. But I would just drive, man. I would load up my friends and we would drive up and down, like we'd go south down the 5 freeway to the 405, the 5 freeway down to San Diego, would turn around. Sometimes I would just drive for like 3 hours in one direction just to turn around. Um, when I when I was when my daughter was really young, she was never a napper. She never napped. Like, I don't think the girl has napped once in her entire life, man. Okay, like her napping in her bed is just it never happened. She's like allergic to that idea. So to give my wife some like free time, I would take her and toss her in the back of the Toyota Rav4, and I would just go north from
Perfect.
Ventura. I would go up in the hills towards Ojai, and I'd zigzag. And if you're not familiar with where Ojai is, it's like a small little town in like the kind of Chaparral Desert in the Azingo Borrego kind of area. It's really bougie. And it's a bunch of like Hollywood people retire up there, kind of. But it's also where parts of the second season of True Detective were filmed. Like, kind of where like the pervert house was, where like all the weird stuff was happening. And I would go driving through there, and I'd come out the east side of Santa Barbara. I would come down. I would drive down the coast with the ocean on one side and mountains on the other. And I would do that for hours. That was the only way she napped. That's the only way I could get her to sleep, in the back of the car, driving 70 miles an hour down Pacific Coast Highway. And I loved it. I just loved doing it. I loved getting in my car and driving north, past Santa Barbara, past Carpinteria, past Summerland, well into, just going, or going down south towards Los Angeles, going down down to one highway south with the ocean on my right. And there's this beautiful like turn. I don't know like how to describe it, where you're coming up, and you're going through this like arch of rocks, and then you see the ocean right in front of you. You turn left, and it's this big round turn, and you have this gorgeous, beautiful, the Pacific Ocean's on your one side and mountains on the other side, and right ahead of you is Malibu, and you can just see all these Malibu houses on the side of the mountain, and it's just amazing. It's like one of the best
Yeah,
views in
isn't
the
it?
world.
Isn't it telling that as you drive down the roads of the United States, they have pull-offs like that? Just, hey, this is
Right,
pretty. Go look.
right,
Like,
right.
someone has the presence of mind to be like, oh, that's a great view. We got to put a road that way people can see it.
And there's something where, like, right when you pull down that turn, like, no matter what car you're driving, Hotel California starts playing on your radio. It's just a fucking rule, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're
it
like,
is.
you're like,
Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
because I love the
That's
Eagles.
that's one of the lesser known benefits to the MK Ultra program, was they figured
Right.
out how to broadcast Hotel California on demand. Somewhat
Yeah.
ironically, considering the program. But anyway,
And I don't care who you are. If you don't like Hotel California, I'm gonna knife you.
fuck you. Yeah, just
You're
fuck
gonna
you.
get knifed, okay? I love
Yeah.
the Eagles, man. The Eagles are one of my favorite bands, okay?
Listen. The only way you're getting out of Hotel California is in a fucking box.
Right.
Right? It's the forever box. That's how you're getting out of here. All right.
Right. You can
You
check
know
out
what?
anytime you want, but you can never leave, bro. All right. But yeah, there's just something about that, man. There's just something about that California like vibe. And you get it in so many different states. So many different states have that like that vibe. There, I and this is okay, you guys can just log off because this is gonna be me talking about how much I love the
Uh-oh.
United States. Okay. I'm just gonna
Awesome.
I remember one of my best friends, okay? One of my best friends, well, probably my best friend growing up. We've known each other since we were like in third grade. When we first met, me and my brother beat the shit out of him. I don't know if he's ever listening, but me and my younger brother beat the shit out of him. But then we became best friends. And this is the guy that like we played Dungeons and Dragons with and like role played, and he got me into like Marilyn Manson. And him and I smoked the first cigarette when we were like in sixth grade, smoked the first joint when we were in sixth grade, and he he ended up like late high school. He ended up moving to Phoenix, Arizona for a while, and as soon as we got our cars, we're like, okay, man, I'm gonna go to Phoenix, Arizona. And from Los Angeles, Phoenix is kind of far, but not really if you look on the map. But it is far for a teenager, to drive. It's a few hours, and and I was like, you know what, man, let's do it. Me and my buddy Richard, we're gonna drive from Los Angeles to Phoenix, Arizona, and spend a few days in Phoenix. And we loaded up the car, and there was just something so fucking cool about that. Okay, like being like 17-year-olds, never really driving that far. That's it's far, right? And just driving straight down down the desert. Like we're going east. I don't know if you've been to the desert, like the California desert, Arizona desert. It's just desert, man.
Arizona and Utah. Yeah, Arizona
Uh,
and Utah. We took a
It's the
trip through
same in
there, so I know
California.
that.
The
Yeah.
California side is
Right.
like a
Yeah.
little bit more mountainous than the Arizona side, but it's
Right.
just straight, right? And
Yeah.
I shit you not, like all we played on the radio, right, on the CD player was Creedence Clearwater Revival, like have like Who Stopped the Rain, just on repeat for like 5 hours straight. You know what I mean? And we would stop at like every single creepy gas station on the side of the freeway. Well, not the freeway, the highway, just so we can like get like drinks and just chain smoke cigarettes, because he didn't want us. My buddy didn't want me to smoke cigarettes in his car because it was his dad's car and he didn't want like cigarette smoking it, But it was the coolest thing ever, man. There's just something like that's so cool. It's like the first time I went to Vegas when I was just roaming around by myself in like through the casinos, and it's just this weird Elvis meets like Day of the Dead kind of like jank vibe to it. And I don't know, man, it's just so amazing. There's just something so amazing about America. And don't get me wrong, I love Europe, and I love the Europe feels completely different, but America just has this like, I don't know, this fucking vibe that is amazing. You know what I mean? And you don't get it anywhere else. I mean, I spent many, many, many years in Asia, and Asia has its own cool vibe. But the US, like, I think we like ignore it sometimes. We forget that it's just amazing. And somebody said up in the chat, I don't know if I can scroll the way up. The one thing I've noticed about Americans, and then it was actually, let me see, I can't find it, but it's Americans are very, very optimistic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Americans are really the nicest people on the planet. I don't give a shit.
I found it.
Right?
Do you want me to read the quote?
Yeah, read the quote for me.
Yeah, this is from Nigachu,
Okay.
who we summoned, and I'm glad we summoned him. I really love the friendly optimism of America. It's a combination of being the ones who left everything behind in the old world, stick a chance on themselves in the new world, but also needed to cooperate to survive the tough environment, and the Indians leading to being very friendly, but also disagreeable and independent. I just love America, to be honest. It's people, it's culture, it's the greatest country in the world. Correct.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with everything he said, everything he wrote. Because if you ever spend time with other people, they're nowhere near as nice as us. Like people love the Japanese. The Japanese are not as nice as Americans, guys. Like I'll tell you the truth. I've lived there for almost four years of my life there, and they'll smile. They're polite, but politeness does not mean nice.
Right.
Um, Sometimes they'll smile and nod, but they really fucking hate you and they don't they don't want you there. So there's definitely that element. But Americans are in a way, Americans are like a golden retriever a little bit, or like a lab. They're like, I don't mean to be insulting, but
It's not
you know what I mean.
insulting.
But
No.
you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, it's people when they get to know me personally are usually pretty surprised how genuinely soft and kind I am, and it's that you're describing. It's that I'm trying to think of what it is, but like, hey, come on in, take your coat off. Can I get you something to drink? Do you want something to eat? Like, what's going on? Like, how you been? Like,
right,
there's this high level pioneer socialization that everybody has. And especially when it comes to, I think, white folk, like, I mean, you could talk to a white guy anywhere. I could talk to a white guy anywhere in the United States, and it's just, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? It's like, it's weird. It's almost like you can't run into somebody that you don't like. Like I think about Texas, for example. I've never met a Texan I didn't like. What's up with that? What is
right,
that? Like, that makes no sense to me. But there it is, and I think
right,
it's just that pioneer socialization. No, you learn how to talk to strangers because everybody's a fucking stranger.
right,
It's so huge, and everybody's moving around, and it's like we're all here for the first time. Like this, it's the newness of it. I think. I think that is a key part. I think that is a key part of the experience in the United States, because all of these things, like everything that you described, take the internet, or not the internet, take the interstate highway system. It's less than 100 years old.
right,
What the fuck? What the fuck is that? Living down here in Florida, this was swampland like 60 years ago. Like, we terraformed this in less than in just a few decades. Like, what? It's just
right.
it's
It's wild,
strange, man.
and
Yeah,
that's why, in a way, why it's so sad that there's a lot of
it's
people that don't
fast.
like it. Like,
Yeah,
and it's nuts because I there's cultures. The problem is there's cultures that are coming into this country that are not in any way, shape, or form compatible. Like, for example, like, super white nationalist types are going to disagree with me, but I think that, like, Mexicans are part and parcel of the Southwestern culture and
oh,
belong.
absolutely.
I mean, like,
100%. Yeah.
you've got
I've
I've got friends that are that have been Americans for multiple generations. Like, they're Texicans,
yeah,
and if you ask them, are
yeah,
you they're ethnically, like, well, I guess, Mexican is not a race; it's a
yeah.
nationality, and it's, they're, but they're, they're basically like they're third generation, fourth generation Mexicans, right? And
Texicans, look, I've met lots of Texicans here where I am.
yeah,
They're palate swapped Texans. I'm sorry, but they are. Like,
right,
same, just
exactly.
I've never met a Texican I didn't like. They're fantastic. Texans and all that, like, they're great. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you're 100% correct. This idea that Latins and this idea that Mexicans, and like, it's part of North America, guys. Like, it's the
right.
southern cousin side of North America, but they're cousins. It's not.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah,
and as a Californian, like somebody that grew up in California,
yeah.
like
Give me a break.
southwestern Texans are like very similar to Southern Californians. So,
Yeah,
like,
of course they are.
my coworker, he's from El Paso, and he's a Mexican, and his dad's a Mexican, his mom's a Mexican, and he's the kind of guy that wears snakeskin boots and stuff. And I'm like,
Oh, hell yeah.
you're such a fucking, he's that guy,
Yeah,
and it's amazing,
yeah,
um, and it's like just that's like a vibe that I really like. And there's an interesting thing where, like, but so these guys, right, like, in a way, a lot of Mexican culture, a lot of Hispanic culture, I don't know about like the other ones, but because I've never really too heavily interacted with like Guatemalans and stuff, but a lot of Mexican culture in Southern California has become white culture. If you spend any time in
yeah,
if you grew up in Southern California, white people and Mexicans are very interchangeable. And almost everybody's like, your girlfriends are like Mexican, or and vice versa, and like the goth clubs are Mexicans, and it's just, there's some, like, the real differences are more about like the the different type of people, like, right? But
yeah.
But what's
Just I want to
interesting,
interject. I just want to interject. I see that at my high school here. We have a majority Hispanic population, and you go to the Friday night football games, you go to high school graduation, and I'm sitting here going, this is my high school experience palette swapped.
right,
It has the seasoning. The seasoning is Latin, but the meat is Anglo.
right.
Sorry, guys.
And I know, and then, like I said, we're gonna get shit for that. We're gonna get shit for that because
Whatever. Fuck
we're
it.
here we
Yeah,
are. It's
that's
like,
fine. Yeah,
and
whatever.
it's like, to be honest, like I always felt that Mexican culture was welcoming. I grew up like around a bunch of Mexicans on the east side of Long Beach, and I went to a bunch of parties and I drank a bunch of tequila with them, and I hung out with a bunch of old guys that were like fucking the shirt tucked in with the big old belt buckle and the cowboy hat, and those guys, and it's like they're like welcoming people, and everybody
Yeah,
shared their food. The most insufferable Mexicans, right, the people I could not stand Mexicans, right, were actually like the super college educated, like
of course.
third generation Mexican girls that are like, you colonizers, we're Aztecas, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up, bitch, right, but you take the same chick and she's just really an obnoxious like shit lib white girl,
I was about to say
right.
the liberal white Mexicans
Yeah, the
is
liberal
what
white
you're
Mexicans are
describing.
the most
Yeah, liberal white
insufferable one.
Mexicans.
I'll
Yeah.
take the straight up like freaking like Rio Grande hop and shoot any day, dude, over some fucking like, and it's like, like the most insufferable people are like the ones that are born here, to be
my
honest.
my best friend's wife is Mexican, and one time I was over for dinner. This is the reason I also love Mexicans, because they're super racist. They're so funny.
Right.
Um, we were eating tacos, and I took a tortilla and I put it on my head. I'm like, hey, check it out. It's a Mexican yarmulke. This is the first time that we had ever hung out ever, and she just dies laughing. My friend's like, yeah, you never know the kind of shit that's gonna come out of Fitzel's mouth. It's just gonna, like, just get used to that. And she died laughing. But it's
Dude,
great.
I
Mexican yarmulke. It's fine.
I dated lots of Mexican girls, and they were the most racist people I've ever
Oh,
encountered.
it's great.
Like
Yeah, it's
their level
fantastic.
of racism like knows no bounds. I'm actually pretty convinced that 90% of white supremacists on the internet are actually just Mexican dudes.
Yeah,
You
100%.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're just like
100%.
Hispanic guys.
Not. Look. Miss, miss miss the ethnicity of a Cuban and just fucking watch the knife come out. Like, you're gonna
Right,
fucking die. You're gonna fucking die. They'll kill
right.
you on this. It's great. It's fantastic.
Like
It's good though.
I remember I dated this girl named Myra, and I used to always tell her that you're just like a Honduran, right? And she would get so mad if you like miss Latinize whatever, you know what I mean? She would
Yeah, I
like,
do that with Puerto
you know,
Ricans too. So,
right. The my One of my first
oh,
girlfriends, like the one I dated for a long time, and her name, I'm not gonna tell you her name, but I don't know where she is. She's probably, I don't know. But she was Mexico City Mexican, but her
ooh,
dad her dad was a German, so she was
wow,
blonde. She had blue eyes, but like darker Mexican skin, basically, like and
nice.
she was a professional racist, like from birth. You know what I mean? And it was pretty interesting. I was like, wow. I'm like I feel like I'm not white enough to go out with you. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm just like shit. Like my Eastern European, my Baltic genes over here. Because by the way, guys, I'm actually not 100% Romanian. I'm like half Russian. Oh no, I'm mixed breed.
We're all bastards, man. Don't
I
worry
know,
about it. We're all
I know.
bastards.
Sorry, my dad
These
was
days,
born in
everybody's a
Moscow.
bastard. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, like we know it's just like it's like the craziest thing. It's like it's so funny. I used to always tell her, I'm like, you guys, you're all brown to me, man. I can't tell the difference. Like you're either white or not. That's what I used to tell her all the time, and used to
Yeah.
send her into a rage. She used to get in a rage. She's like, that's not true. That's not true. There's differences. I'm like, I don't really care, man. It's like you're all your thing. Um, but yeah, but there's a lot of the new crowd that I don't particularly like. I'm talking about. They're fucking like they're very exclusive. Like they exclude, right? Like My Mexican neighbors from across the street will come over on 4th of July and we'll all burn fireworks together, But there's different people that like come here and have no desire to ever be part of my street party or anybody's street party. And that really pisses me off. All right. As an immigrant myself, I'm like, get the fuck out of here,
Yeah.
And I say that honestly. I go, hey man, like, if I ever felt unwelcome here, I would leave. Even though I've been here for 30 years, right? I don't know. I'd be like, hey, I lived here for a long time, but I don't have any particular claim. I would be okay. It's like if Heritage Americans said, "Hey, don't be here anymore," I'd be like, "Okay, cool."
Get the
Of course,
fuck out, Alex. Get the fuck out. You're done.
Of course, my
You're
daughter's
done.
American and my
You're
wife's an
done.
American, so
They can stay. You need to go. I'm sorry.
I'm gone, guys.
You have to leave.
Going back to my unair conditioned European Union, guys. Peace out
back
here.
To your Dracula castle.
Yeah,
and
we don't need air conditioning in my castle in the
here.
Carpathians, you peasants. And I just go
there, sleep in your coffin and get out of here, man.
Yeah,
forget you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just want to eat a hot dog. Is a hot dog American? Hot dog is American, right?
Yeah, of course, 100%.
Chili dog is definitely American.
Hot dog at the ballpark, perfect. Hot dog at the ballpark.
Baseball is American.
Baseball's perfectly American. See, here's the thing. I was making the joke earlier about you going to see a Padres game, but the thing with baseball,
that was a really horrible game. Okay.
Well, the baseball is about the company. Like, it's about who you go with, because you're going to the park and there happens to be a game at the park. There's a very particular game at the park. Like, focusing on getting baseball like super commercial and super competitive and dude, you're going down to the ballpark for like 3 or 4 hours. You're just fucking around, like drinking beer, eating hot dogs, talking about whatever, and maybe something interesting will happen.
That's what my wife said. That's what my wife said. My wife is a really, really big baseball fan. Okay, or she used to be when we first met, and I'm not. I just don't like it. I feel like I've dated a bunch of girls before my wife that were really into baseball. Like one time, I dated a girl for a long time. Her favorite team was like the Cubs, and she was obsessed with like seeing a game at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
So when I lived in Chicago for a bit, like she made it a point to like come over, and that's what she wanted to do when she came to visit me for a little bit before, and it's right before we broke up too. And it was like we didn't break up until you went to Wrigley Field. But I mean, actually, I dumped her, but it doesn't matter. But anyways, right?
Details.
I didn't really enjoy it. I was like, "It's cool." I just got drunk, I was like, And when we lived in San Diego, my wife convinced me to go to a baseball game, the Padres, right? And I was just like, I don't know, man. It's not my thing. The game itself is not my thing, right? But the Padres stadium over there in San Diego has a like, it's really a cool stadium. It has a bunch of like microbreweries in it. At least
wait, that's the one with the harbor, right? That's the one with the harbor with the home runs into the harbor.
Yeah. And
see,
it's actually really cool.
Like that's what makes baseball great, is just little shit like that. Like you got a fucking harbor and everybody's out there with their boats catching home runs. Like,
right. It's called Petco Park. Yeah, it's called Petco Park, and it has a bunch of like.
See, Alex, you should.
I just got drunk, bro. I just got drunk. I got drunk and like I think I blacked out. Like I literally like time traveled because I drank so much, And I was just like, I don't even know. I think they were playing the Cardinals. And I was just like, bro, I don't know what the fuck, dude. Like, I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't care. I just want to drink Belgian Beaver beer from the microbrew out here. I did. I'm doing this Sunday. I'm going to a women's basketball game.
All right. It's not WNBA, is it?
No, it's not. But
nappy-headed.
Listen, bro. But I'm kind of in love with that Sophie Cunningham girl. You know what I'm talking about? The blonde girl?
No.
Dude, you need to look her up, man. Like her video. Right. Sophie Cunningham. All right.
Sophie Cunningham.
She's the one that did the pointing thing, man. She did the pointing thing.
Oh, that chick.
That chick's a beast. I'd go see the Indiana Fever or whatever the fuck they're called. All right.
Indiana Fever.
Yeah. And I mean, I like what's her name? What is the other one? Yeah, it had Mark. It's Cunningham, Sophie Cunningham, I believe. I'm retarded,
Yeah,
but anyway, she's pretty awesome. Um, like I watched like her videos and stuff.
yeah, yeah. That's just your average hot Indiana chick. That's what that
Yeah,
is.
yeah, but she's pretty damn good. Like
Many
watching her
such
play.
cases. Many such
Yeah,
cases.
and I'm like, I'm kind of into this women's basketball thing. I'm becoming a basketball fan all of a sudden. Like I just like that. I just like that the two most popular like athletes right now in between the World Cup and all this basketball stuff that's going on is a blonde chick and a blonde dude, because the other like super popular like meme athlete is that Norwegian guy, the soccer guy.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? Like everybody's kind of
yeah,
like into that guy.
yeah,
That like fucking Viking looking motherfucker. That's just
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
But it's just cool, And
The Nathaniel Aryan Superman, like
right, right. Like
whatever
literally
that
like
is.
the best thing about it right now. And it's like it's because it's kind of cool to see white people reassert themselves in a way. It's not
Right,
about like, oh my God, I'm a racist, I don't like black people and stuff. But it's just like let me tell you, man, like black people like for a long time were pretty cool. And no, I don't mean like cool in like they're nice to me or something like that. I mean like cool, like they had a vibe. Like
yeah. They had a
there's like
thing. Yeah, they had a thing.
even like the most like hater motherfucking like white supremacist has to admit that like black culture had a vibe for a while. You had that like black exploitation vibe that Quentin Tarantino kind of jerked off to too much, a little bit, like in Jackie
Yeah.
Brown, like that Black Dynamite thing going on.
Well, it's like
And
Cab Calloway and Blues Brothers. Like that's
right,
fucking cool. It's
right,
fucking
right.
cool.
And it
That's
had
it.
the whole like pimp vibe thing going
Yes.
on, and
It's just
like
yeah. All
Charlie
right.
Murphy and like the all
Yes.
those skits that they're just cool. The whole
Yeah.
gangsters thing, and
That
one of
Louisiana
the things,
Bayou vibe. Like fucking right. Let's
yeah,
go.
one of the things that like black culture was allowed to be for a very long time that kind of got like lost in like white culture was they were allowed to be masculine. All right, black
Yeah.
people were allowed to be aggressive, like in the 90s you see people say stuff like, oh well, rap was a psyop or whatever, or people listen to rap uh in gangster rap. Nobody really liked gangster rap, and the CIA psyoped like rock music, right? But let's be honest, man, most rock music in the 90s was pretty gay, and we've talked about this before, right? Like
Yeah.
who ruined like rock musicians, because 80s rock music was just gay. Let's just be honest here, dude, right? You look at an 80s band, right, of like like a fucking Motley Crue or something like that, and you put them next to a band like a new wave band of like all homosexuals, and you be like, wow, these guys are way gayer than the gay dudes. Like the 80s like music aesthetic was that straight dudes looked like hyper gay, and like gay dudes looked straight. Think about it, right? Because like all those new wave gay bands, right? They're wearing like those like suits and stuff, and they had that Patrick Bateman like American Psycho
Yeah.
aesthetic, right? They
Yeah.
look like straight business dudes, like those new wave guys. But the fucking cock rock bands like Motley Crue and Poison and all this, they just look like they're wearing their mom's clothes, dude. Like bangles
Yeah.
and stuff and like tights and shit. Like those guys look gay as fuck, right? And then what did you replace that with? Like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and stuff. And like all those bands had a banger opening album. Pearl Jam's 10
Yeah.
was great. Nirvana's, Nevermind was amazing. And then they're like, you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna make an album that everybody's gonna hate because it's really fucking weird. Because we hate being famous. We hate giving people what they want. So we're gonna
They got
drop
successful and
album.
hated it.
Yeah, we're gonna drop album after album of shit that nobody really wants, just depressing stuff. Some of it's good. I actually really enjoy some of Pearl Jam's like later stuff, like Versus and Vitology. I even like some of Pearl Jam's much later stuff, but nothing compares to 10. And nobody, guys, like, and I got into it with somebody on Twitter a while ago, because they're like, oh, the CIA psyoped on a rock. I'm like, no, dude. people want to turn up for what in the club and have a good time, and that's why they listen to rap, like late 90s rap. They listened to that because it was a party music. All right, it was fun to listen to that. Right, nobody's gonna be like, let's go to the club and put on like the 9 minute like version of like the Smashing Pumpkins song, followed by the Tool album, which is like a slap bass repeated line over and over that sounds like you're listening to fucking math. All right, like, do you know what I mean? Like, Tool is cool, right? But you're listening to math, bro. That's what it feels like sometimes, right? Like, my wife's like, let's listen to Tool. And she puts it on, and I'm like, what? This fucking sounds like math done in like a Soviet basement, like,
Math in
fucking
Soviet
boring.
basement.
You know what I mean? Right? Like, come on, right?
I'm picturing
like,
it. I'm picturing it. Yeah, it's great.
It's like some dude like hitting like a pipe in like a sewer, and it's just like depressing. You're like, cool. It's great, but you can't.
Hitting a pipe in a sewer of some like decommissioned Soviet rocket facility.
Right. I mean, I
like
was that guy.
Those giant satellite dishes, like way out in Siberia. That's where.
Right. It's exactly what that shit sounds like. I had this friend. He wasn't a friend. I used to work at this little. I used to work at this like little indie coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
I used to work at this indie coffee shop, right? And we used to be able to just put on whatever fucking music we wanted to, And there was this like three people. This girl, these two girls, and this one guy, and they were like just fucking burnout stoners, dude. They're like hilarious. Like, they were just high 24/7, and all they wanted, they would just put on Tool and Perfect Circle, which is just Tool Part 2, right? For like hours, dude. And I was like, stop! Nobody wants to fucking listen to that when they come into the store, dude. It's like, and I'm a depressed person, bro. Like, I like goth music. I like, I like Dead Can Dance and that kind of stuff. I like neo folk. But dude, I understand that when you go to the club, you want to dance. All right. I want to go to the club, put on some music so I can like, rub my junk on some chick. That's the whole point of going to this damn place. And yes, Jen, dark wave is amazing. Okay. But that stuff has life to it. Like you know what I mean? Like, stuff like Tool, like, oh, great, guys. You know what I want to do this morning? I want, on my way to work in the morning, as the sun is slowly rising and I'm trying to come myself, listen to Nirvana or Alice in Chains. Great artistic work, but there's a reason why, it didn't play all the time on K-Rock, because people wanted to listen to like Chumbawamba or something like that when they're having a good time.
That stuff was strict no fun loud.
Right. Like, there's so much of the mid to early 90s rock was just no fun. Like, it's like, oh, you're having fun? Oh, you're just a poser, bro. Stop having fun. Like, don't take this shit too seriously, man. So of course I was like, I want to listen to Snoop Dogg over here, sipping on gin and juice, or Tupac snatching your bitch off the street and all this stuff. And of course, like you have the Wu-Tang Clan and Bone Thugs and all that. It was just fun to listen to. Like Busta Rhymes. You telling me Busta Rhymes is not fun? Or Old Dirty Bastard? That shit was fun, okay? And there was like this cool kind of like aggressive vibe, because like by the time rap kind of became the dominant cultural force, the white male was the Weezer male, the kind of like nerdy glasses, shoegaze kind of guy, and who was one step away from Kurt Cobaining themselves. Right. So people are like, oh, you know what? I don't want to be that dude. I want to be like Old Dirty Bastard over here with the grill and like, cutting necks or whatever the fuck they were doing. There's something more masculine about that, right? But then fast forward to 2026, and somehow everybody that's black is gay. What happened? What happened to like the black dude, right? Like, this is the first time in like decades that there's not one rap song or any hip hop anything in like the top 10 or something like that. It's pretty wild. Right? It's because somehow the machine turned its gaze upon the black man, and it just turned them all gay. P. Diddy out here, not gangster. He's he's got the baby lotion, and he's like he's got a cuck. He's walking around watching dudes like sleep with hookers and stuff, and just watching them and stuff. That's gay, bro.
Yeah.
You're like,
Super
ooh,
gay. Super
that's,
gay.
nobody wants to do that. And then like
Yeah.
you have like, that rapper Drake or whatever, he's like Canadian. Like that's just gay as fuck right there. Sorry, Lisa. Sorry, comedians. Like you can't be a gangster from Canada. That's just weird. At least like a black dude
He
gangster.
was in
Like
some children's show that my wife was showing me, some
yeah, he's
children's
like
show. I
on
forget the
Disney
name of
and
it.
stuff. Like it's all
Yeah,
just
he
it's
I think
just
he
all kind of
played a
like fruity. I
character.
don't know.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard to take Drake seriously when he's part of a very special episode where his character gets shot and he gets turned into like a paraplegic or some shit. Like it's fucking, what is this?
But,
No, just go.
but it's really
It's
weird. It's like
it's
Hollywood and the music industry is really has really been all about like emasculating black dudes, like hardcore, like the whole Will Smith thing. Look at his children, dude, just crazy. Like the whole like Kanye West thing, and with the whole it's like this machine meant to I don't know, like am I the only one that's noticing this stuff? It's like how did like
I
I don't
mean,
know. It's really weird.
I'd say a lot of our audience probably tries not to pay attention to a lot of black stuff to begin with. But maybe
Right,
because it's
right.
also
Maybe,
gay,
I,
maybe because it is so incredibly gay.
yeah, yeah. It's just wild, right? So now we're back to white dudes being cool, which is awesome. All right,
Perfect.
we're back,
Fantastic.
bros.
We're back, bros.
Like we
Let's
got like
go.
got that Serbian dude or whatever in the
Hold
in
on, hold on.
NBA.
Another aesthetic I want to bring up, another American aesthetic I want to bring up, and because you brought up white guys being back, but Project Hail Mary, the NASA aesthetic, and that movie's a perfect example
Oh
of it.
yeah,
Like that
yeah,
whole look,
yeah.
all that, yeah. I live in a house
It's
just
coming
just
back,
that, just
coming
look like
back.
that with the big
Yeah,
round door and like just everything's kind of sciencey looking. Like that's American. That technology, like you're talking about cars and motion and travel, and I mean this is the most technological country ever. You don't have America without technology. You just don't.
right.
Like, this country
I
this
enjoy.
country does not exist. This country does not really exist before the industrial revolution. It just doesn't.
I enjoy the NASA aesthetic, but
Yeah.
here's one step where I'm going to be like, ooh, I'm going to give it to the Russians because there's something about that like CCCP cosmonaut like aesthetic that I really like more than
Oh,
the
of
NASA
course.
aesthetic.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what it is about it. Like there's uh there's something like I was thinking about that because like I
Well,
was thinking about actually the NASA aesthetic, right? And I was like, oh,
well,
I love it, but I also really like that like Russian kind of like it's more janky kind of. It's more like
well, the NASA aesthetic is optimistic. The Soviet aesthetic is pessimistic. It reminds you that space is gonna fucking kill you and you're gonna die screaming. NASA's like,
right.
hey, we're gonna discover something cool, and Russia's like, you will fucking die. So of course, like, yeah, of course you like it, Alex, because you're a fucking Dracula Romanian. All right, there, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
it's definitely like there, but but I like that like 50s like atomic pop
Oh
thing
yeah,
going on,
oh yeah.
like or the the you know I'm, you guys I'm sure in the chat will know about this. There's there's that blown glass lamp or whatever that's green. It's like the radium lamps or whatever. Ever seen that stuff before?
No,
Do you know what a radium lamp is? Google radium lamps.
radium lamps. That sounds familiar. You're making me think of the Area 51 kind of X
No,
Files
it's
sort
nothing
of.
like cool. It's like actually just a like radium like radium glass. That's what like Google radium glass. It's actually like a type of like
Oh,
lampshades basically,
all
and
right.
like dinnerware and stuff made out of like radium. It's got like radium isotopes in it or some shit like that, and like it kind of
Well, I
glows.
had this coming up
And
here
it
called
was really
uranium
popular.
glass. Is it the same thing?
Right, similar, right?
All
And
right.
it was like really popular like, in the 50s and 60s and stuff. It's very like Americana, like atomic Americana kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Um, oh, I'm gonna piss some
Okay.
people
Here we
off
go.
right now. You know what you know what aesthetic I don't like? That's very American and uniquely American. I don't like Harley Davidson biker culture. There's something just gay about it. I don't know. Like I don't know if everyone's gonna be mad at me. He's gonna be mad at
Is
me.
it all the
Right?
leather? Is it all the leather?
No,
All the
no. I
assless.
kind of
It's all the
like the.
assless
I kind of like
chaps.
the. No. I kind of like the gay leather daddy thing. Okay, I kind of like that vibe. All right. You know what I don't like about it? It's got like that.
Is it
There we go in
unkempt?
the chat. It's got
It's
that
boomer.
fake tough guy
Yeah.
boomer thing. It's boomer coded. I don't know what it is, right?
Mm.
It's got like it's got this boomer coded thing, right? I mean, I'm not a huge motorcycle dude, but when it comes to motorcycles, I like cafe racers, the whole like the standard motorcycle, very European kind of vibe thing. I like those, and I like the crotch rockets. There's something like really hot about a hot girl on a crotch rocket. I don't know what it is about that, you know?
It's Judy. That's what it is.
Yes, that's exactly
Yeah,
it,
it's
right?
making you think of Judy. It's fine.
Right. And it's very, to me that's hot. But there's
Yeah,
something about like
Pan Am's cruising in the Mustang. Judy's got the 800cc Yamaha crotch rocket. There you go. Done.
right. I mean, I love Mustangs, you know. I love that whole thing, you know, like the
Oh
vintage
yeah.
Mustangs from like the 60s.
Yeah.
And even some of the little 70s one. I Some of my favorite cars from that era are actually European. I really like the Volkswagen the Volkswagen like fastbacks and the one
Mm.
that's got like a square back where it looks kind of like a torpedo if you look at it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? And I do like
Yeah.
the Volkswagen Carmen Gias, which I
Wait,
think are one of the coolest cars.
how about the El Camino?
I love the El Camino. Who doesn't
The
love
El
the El
Camino is
Camino?
beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's
Old.
like the Southern California coded
Yeah.
car, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't you guys like get one issued when you arrive? I heard it. That was like a
Yeah,
standard thing.
yeah, yeah.
Everybody gets
All
an
the
El
Mexicans
Camino.
took them all, so now we don't get them anymore.
At least they're preserving them.
It,
At least they're preserving them.
yeah, they're preserving them. They're you know they're driving around in them.
Yeah,
There's that
car culture is really big out here too. It's a lot of Chevys and a lot of old shit like that. It's kind of great.
that's kind of what I miss here in South Carolina. There's not a lot of car culture stuff. You see some like attempts at it, but not really. There's really nowhere to drive. There's like one highway between all three places, you know. Um, but what's crazy here? Well, actually, motorcycle wise, in South Carolina, you cannot split lanes, which I really like because one of the most annoying things in California is all those motorcycle motherfuckers would split lanes, and they were just like you're just driving down the street, the freeway, it's like 6 lanes, and there's one like motorcycle dude like right in your blind spot all the time, constantly like swinging behind you. But here they don't wear helmets, which to me is even more retarded than splitting lanes. So I don't know what to say about that. I'm trying to think of more aesthetics before we call it a day. All right, so we covered all the good stuff. I mean, there's all the obviously the Southern aesthetic. I kind of like that Gone with the Wind aesthetic. It doesn't really exist anymore. That like Charleston aesthetic,
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders kind of thing. There, yes, Pan American. Right, he's talking about the airline. Right, that the aerospace, the early aerospace travel aesthetic is just fucking peak. But I'll be honest here, it's not just American because my grandfather was an engineer working for Tarom, which was the Romanian airline, and they had the very similar aesthetic. It like that one, Lufthansa, that was a very universal aesthetic. What is my dog barking? Probably somebody trying to break in or something. Talk for a second. I'm gonna go try to see if I have to kill somebody.
I was gonna say it's only a matter of
I'll be
time,
right back.
folks. It's only a matter of time, folks,
Yeah.
until we have to ventilate somebody on Black Ivy Social Club. It'll be a very exciting day. If you guys ever hear me scream, "Do you want Franco?" Because this is how you get Franco, and then black, it'll just empty the mag. Anyway, so chat, what do you want to know? What do you guys want to talk about? I'm just gonna make noises with my word hole here. So many noises with my word hole here. Yeah. Missouri. Anybody got Missouri out there? I was thinking back to my own travels. I lived in Ohio, obviously. You guys know that that's where I grew up. And then word hole harder. Yes, sir. I'm trying. but moved out to Colorado, out through Nebraska. Spent many years out there. Shut up, retard. There you go.
I'm
Catchphrase.
back.
Shut up,
I think
retard.
I think my neighbor's having like a party or something, and my
Oh,
dogs
cool.
are sitting at the window greeting all their guests by.
I was literally just babbling on. I don't even know what I was talking about, so it worked out okay.
Right. So yeah, we covered all the aesthetics. The whole point was that, it's really cool that the U.S. has so many great subcultures and so many
It
great like
does.
kind of aesthetic vibes. And let's be
Yeah,
honest, okay, the 20th century was the American century, without a
100%.
fucking doubt. All right,
Yeah,
like
of course.
that is a non-negotiable. Even the most pro-European person can admit that after World War II, America dominated. Okay.
Yeah,
Is it
150,000%.
still doing it? I don't know. All right. It's really interesting that like every kid I know can't name me one American band, but they know like 17 K-pop bands and no kids that I know in my daughter's age. Like every kid I meet that that she's friends with and stuff, they'll tell you all about Demon Slayer and all about solo leveling and all this like anime stuff, but not one of them has seen an
Well,
American movie.
I
So there's an
suspect,
interesting cultural failure on our part.
I suspect the cultural dominance is probably over, simply because of technology.
All right.
The blue jeans and rock and roll was possible because of radio and newspaper and the telephone and stuff like that. And now with the internet, you know, I think American dominance, they're still gonna. The United States probably won't be so overwhelmingly dominant as they were in the 20th century, but we're still, I think, going to be the biggest gorilla in the room. Not necessarily because it'll be our culture, but that culture is going to run on our infrastructure.
Right. Right.
That's I think the thing that may surprise or a lot of people won't see. It's going to be running on our infrastructure, and we're going to be pulling the cords behind the scenes. Because sure, get into the anime stuff. That's fine. That's great. That's perfect. But you're still using the dollar.
Right.
Right.
So. And it's interesting. Like, there's a lot of I'm noticing a lot of like Chinese cultural stuff popping up a lot on like social media. A lot of like weird kind of Chinese aesthetics. And I get a lot of Chinese smoking cigarette videos, which I'm really enjoying actually, because my feed is just basically Chinese old men smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, maybe that's just me. I don't know if it's anybody else, but that's what I get a lot.
It's your spirit
it's
animal.
Funny.
I wonder if it isn't a lot of these cultures are going to have to go through. They're going to have to do their own version of what we did, where you're going to see all these different cultural expressions, and the United States will move past that. It's kind of like that joke about Edison. He didn't invent electricity, but he figured out how to charge for it.
Right. I mean, even with the American cultural dominance, other nations during the 20th century had some really cool aesthetic vibes. Like the British had some great stuff. In the mid, the whole mod culture, the whole, the whole Beatles thing, that was really cool.
Right.
Punk rock, let's be honest, British punk rock was way better than American punk rock for the most part, in
100%.
my opinion. Goth stuff came out of England and stuff, and they just kind of dropped the ball. Like, I don't know what the fuck the British, I don't know what those guys did, man. They just lost it. And in the French, I mean, dude, come on. If I could go back into a time and place, I would go to like, early sexual revolution France, like the Alain Delon movies, like La Piscine, like the pool. I don't know if you guys seen that movie. God, there's some peak hot girls there, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would be all about. That like yay kind of French stuff, dude. Like,
what decade would that be? What decade is that?
That would be mid 60s, right?
Yeah, I was thinking
I'll give you
1960s Paris.
Why don't you go ahead and Google this little thing right here. All right, like this aesthetic. Put that into your little Google hole, and that's like a probably peak for. And look at some of the images from that right there.
All right, let's take a look.
those like peak mid-century France.
Oh, yeah, the haircuts. The dude with the cigarette.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, in my opinion, I think one of the most beautiful women of all time is Francois Hardy. Right. She was peak. She recently just passed away. Like, but she was, one of the just most gorgeous women of all time. Also Deborah Harry, like Blondie. She's still alive though. So she's American. So I guess Francois Hardy and Deborah Harry are like probably the most beautiful women of the 20th century, in my opinion. Put that on it. I'll fight you guys if you guys disagree.
Yeah, it's got that whole color, that whole kind of washed out, not washed out, but it's got that color palette.
You're right, right. It's like the summer kind of the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
It's like hot and like it's like your best friend comes over and you're out like summering in the Mediterranean, right? At this, your rich friend's pool house, and then like you're hanging out with your wife and you're kind of bored of her, and then your best friend rolls over, but he's trying to bang your wife, but he brings his like freshly turned 18-year-old daughter who you're kind of trying to bang, and that's the whole movie, by the way.
Jeez.
And then you kill your best friend.
I was gonna say probably did you a favor that you weren't alive for that.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
I'm sure it's a fantastic film. I'm sure
if you guys have never seen it, right?
You probably would have ended up face down in a pool somewhere. That's all I'm saying.
Or the murderer,
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a good movie. It's very French. It's exceptionally French. So
French.
there is a very good French aesthetic. I mean, listen,
disgusting.
I like Aperol. Okay, all right, but all right. I actually want to have one more point. I'll leave you guys on this to think. All right. Well, America's amazing. Me and Fisto love it. All right. So
yes, quite fond.
We try to be very positive. Okay. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic 4th of July. And don't fucking let those downers down you, man. Like, blow your fingers off. Eat those glizzies. Do you guys know what they call corn dogs in Japan? Do you know what they call corn dogs? If you go to get they sell corn dogs at like Lawson's and 7-Eleven over there. It's called.
Now, what do they call it?
American Dogu.
I was gonna say American hot dog. That's what I was gonna.
It's called American Dogu.
American Dogu.
Corn dogu. American Dogu. And they're delicious. I'm sorry, you guys, but Japanese make better corn dogs than Americans do.
I wanna.
And they come with those.
I wanna echo what you said. Go hang out with your community, guys. Go hang out with the people around you. Go to the town. Go to the fireworks. And think about what the next 250 years will bring. Because
right,
that's what your grandkids get to grow up in. So better think about it, fuckers. Right. Anyway, man.
Wonderful. Anything else? Thanks for joining us. Next week, Fisto's not going to be here. He's not going to be here at all. You're going to.
I have an important mission.
You got some stuff to do.
Mission that I need to undertake. Yes, important things need to happen.
So I believe I will be here. If I can wrangle a guest, we'll try to wrangle a guest. Maybe Lisa wants to join me. What I really want to talk about is horror movies, because I want to talk about. I don't know if Lisa's still listening. If you want to come on, I want to talk about horror movies. I want to talk about how each kind of generation has its own kind of horror monster. Where, like, for example, like the boomers. If you guys paid attention to boomer movies, a lot of them are like evil kids, like Children of the Corn, Omen. There's like a lot of like evil kid kind of movies because boomers they hate children. They're afraid of children.
Yeah, they hate children.
And that showed in their media, right? Also, like the hippie kind of era boomers, they also tended to have a lot of like serial killer, like go insane kind of movies. Because the undercurrent of the hippie peace and love was Charles Manson and that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Gen Xers are zombie people because they're like Gen Xers are zombie people. They're like we're gonna be stuck in like we're gonna become like the man, but that kind of stuff. We're gonna be followers, that type. And then now we're seeing something new here, which is this current generation of making movies, the Gen Z kind of like young millennials, Gen Zers, it's this whole backrooms thing, right? Which is really weird because it's like there's not even any zombies in it. They're afraid of being stuck in decay. You know what I mean? Like in
Hmm.
just absolute decay, right? Because what is
Hmm.
the backrooms but like a decaying culture? It's 1998 Office, right? It's Windows
Yeah.
98. It's like a CDRW or whatever, basically forever and
Hmm.
ever and ever,
You
right?
know,
It's like
I just finished the penultimate episode of Digital Circus, and I
right.
think Digital Circus might be a horror in that regard.
Well,
It's
it is.
terror
It is
being
a horror
stuck.
because it is that,
Yeah, it's like
right?
horror being stuck somewhere.
It's being stuck in a decaying system. That's
Yeah,
that's that's the problem, right? The
yeah,
digital circus is a system that was created, and those people are stuck, and it's
yeah. It's falling
decaying
apart.
around them, right? It's falling apart, and that's what Gen Z feels like. They're stuck in this world that's decaying,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting because if you look at like the Eastern European vibe, that's very similar to this, but not is in a lot of video games right now, like a lot of like the Bohemian interactive stuff, like Daisy and that kind of stuff. You have the Soviet aesthetic of the decaying system, you know, the stuff like the post the stalker stuff, right? Like the post Chernobyl type of uh, decaying Soviet bloc type of thing going on, where it's like falling apart. Everything's like you know what I mean, right? I think
Hmm.
that's the Eastern European Russian version of the backrooms because they're very similar, right? Because the backrooms has this whole like kind of time, not time warp, but like liminal space thing, and then the whole Soviet pre-prat type of thing has the same kind of liminal space thing. It's very similar that this current generation is about being stuck in a decaying system, and it's really interesting when you
Hmm.
look at it as opposed to the Gen Xers who are zombie people, right? Their biggest fear is being stuck in the fucking mall with zombie people, right?
Yeah,
The mall's not scary, the zombies are scary. And for Gen Z, the mall itself is scary because it's
yeah.
decayed,
The environment.
right? I don't know. So that's something I'm
Mhm.
thinking about for next episode. Talk about some horror movie aesthetics and stuff,
Yeah, that sounds
and
really
then
cool. That'll be fun.
I think if you know if Lisa wants to join me or somebody else will do that. If not, we'll wait until the following week to do that. Um, and then I'll be gone. I have to work on a Thursday, Friday, a night shift, so I might be missing one episode. We can do like somewhere else. But for you guys, hey, thanks for joining us. We had a good turnout, some good
Yeah, thanks,
conversation.
guys.
God bless America, man. I love this country, and please, please, please celebrate it well. If you guys really enjoy the show, we do this. You know, it's like I call it the chill stack. We just hang out every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern time, and you can please subscribe. It's more of a donation than anything, and I have it set as the cheapest possible option, right?
Yes.
So it helps me
Cheaper than
just
iTunes back in the day.
right.
Adjusted for inflation, we're free.
Yeah, it
We're
just helps
free.
us pay.
Adjusted for
It helps me
inflation.
pay for StreamYard, and it helps me pay for I don't know. It doesn't really help me pay for anything because it doesn't make enough money off of it. But the idea is that it's going to help us pay for StreamYard. It's going to help us pay for the internet that we're using, and yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great 4th of July. Hope you get to spend time with your friends and family in your communities, and go out there. Okay, go out and do it. All right, all right. Love you guys.
See
Good
you
night.
guys.